Dulamkhorloo Baatar, Toque for short, and I'm going to be introducing you to Pluma Media platform. And in doing so, I'll try to introduce Mongolian media ecosystem very briefly, as much as time allows. So Pluma is an independent, unbiased, pluralistic, and censor-free media platform that is aimed to serve audiences that speak non-English languages. So through Pluma, we're trying to solve three different problems. First of all, the demand and supply ratio of information that is being created and what people want to read and consume in terms of information. So according to research that we've done a few years back, 74% of respondents said that they are not able to find the information that they're looking for from the mainstream media, despite Mongolia having almost 400 media organizations for 3.5 million population. The second problem is the workload and resources that are allocated for journalists. An average journalist working in a Mongolian newsroom every day is required to do at least 5 news articles daily for a salary of about $300 a month. So third risk, with all those problems, due to the fact that media is not able to serve the audiences, we have a number of ecosystem risks, which is the misinformation problem and also the distrust in media organizations. So Pluma was designed to address these problems. And frankly speaking, the way journalism works is just broken. From this model, I tried to kind of picture how media is working in terms of workflow and process. And you can see only form of payment or any source of resources are going directly from the audiences to the owner. But we are trying to rebrand media in a way that media as a public service, media as a public interest organization. And by doing that, we're trying to propose this model. So everything starts with the journalist, where journalist gets information from the source, creates the information, and then delivers it to the audience. And Pluma is trying to create this direct conversation and feedback between the audiences and the journalists. And the reward system goes directly from the audiences to the journalists, where Pluma takes care of all the infrastructures in terms of subscription, training, capacity building, and also combating disinformation, ensuring quality of the information that the freelance journalists are creating. So Pluma serves journalists and professional writers, readers, as well as sources. And it is highly inspired by actually how Facebook works and also how Substack works. But we are seeing a lot of problems that's being created by this design. So with the help of JournalismAI, we try to address those issues with the help of artificial intelligence. So when serving these different audiences through one platform, which is a very decentralized platform, we have created 2 systems. First of them is AI-assisted fact-checking, and the second tool is media environment analysis, or we call it sentiment analysis. And here's how it works. So sentiment analysis tool basically is trained on Gemini, and we've fed them with data from 7 different media organizations in Mongolia. And what it does is every time an article is published on Pluma, it scans through it and tells the reader whether it's positive, neutral, or negative. But you might be thinking, the reader has already read that information, why is that needed, right? So Pluma also has access to 7 media organizations. So once a certain story appears on Pluma, it scans through all those media organizations and then shows the reader, these many media organizations have reported on the same issue, and these many have reported on it from a positive angle, and those have reported it from a negative angle. So that gives the reader an opportunity to kind of break out of her or his echo chamber and see different perspectives on the same issue before making a decision. So with doing that, we're trying to break through the algorithm that social media platforms create, and the problem of not having shared reality, and the problem of people not being flexible to different perspectives from how they're looking at certain issues. The number of websites that we're working with is counting. We've had meetings with almost 30 newsrooms, and these 7 are currently on board, and we're still working to add more newsrooms into this. One of the things to add, this is not a competing media organization with these newsrooms. So what Pluma does is, if as a reader I'm reading a negative content but I want to get the positive opinion, I can directly just press on the link from the other newsrooms and go there. So it's also driving traffic to other media organizations as well. So AI-assisted fact-checking is the second tool that we built. It's trained on about 2,000 fact checks that our fact-checking organization have done in the last 5 years. And from that, we have learned 5 key features that are commonly seen from disinformation that were being circulated in Mongolia. So this model is trained on those features, and it scores certain information when it comes to Pluma platform. Because it's freelance journalists, we're taking out the editorial process out of the process of making information. So it does that. You can see from there, it says like AI checked, but that interface is only seen by fact checkers. It's not directly visible to readers. When is it visible to readers is when the score of probability, you see the numbers in red in front of them, is higher than 46%. So higher the point is, the faster the fact checkers prioritize that information, and it works very similar to Meta's fact checking and labeling tool. So it was kind of inspired by that. Another additional opportunity that we had, because we were increasingly understanding how AI can be used in journalism better, was that we started partnership with another local AI developer called Voyager AI, and they have embedded a widget onto our platform. So what it does is it's a reader assistant. So once somebody clicks on a link of a news story on Pluma, it basically just generates 3 questions that reader can directly press on it and learn more on the same issue. So this is based on our initial testing and focus group discussions. This is increasing screen time, time spent on the link by about 3 minutes. So that's a lot of, by about 30%. So that's quite a big result that we're seeing. So right now we have 63 journalists. We've launched the platform for the journalists first, because for readers to come in, we have to have journalists on there. And 63 would mean, in case of Mongolia, one of the biggest newsrooms that we're having that's able to serve different audiences. So for 2026 and 2027, we are planning to launch this. We're planning to expand our market within Mongolia to reach at least 10% of the population, and have a small part of that as paying members, so that we can start paying the journalists as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Dia. And next on stage, I'd like to welcome Matthew Linares from openDemocracy.
Thank you.
That's every minute.
Hello. When preparing this lightning talk, I wanted to take the opportunity to reflect not only on the product that we've built, but where that left us in the general flow of integrating AI into our products, and how we felt about AI. That was sort of part of the opportunity that we understood JournalismAI's grant to offer us, to prepare us. So I've entitled this "AI Gives Us New Powers, Yet We Remain Humble." It's an honest reflection on our experience building with AI. AI functionality is great, but as with everything, success requires hard work and just a bit of luck. I'll explain what I mean. At this point in time, as well as learning about AI and trying to understand how we can integrate it into our businesses and workflows, there's a wider conversation right now. We're asking, is AI a bubble? Where are we on the implementation, adoption cycle? Here's a recent report from MIT, the State of AI in Business, which actually shows of the number of AI projects investigated, the actual successful implementation is about 40%, or just 5% when you're looking at business implementation that's task-specific Gen AI. So there's a question about how fast we should run with AI, what our expectations should be when implementing it and when using it to boost our products. Our project is within that 5%, so I come at this with a positive story, but this is kind of just my contribution to this discourse, which I found quite interesting, and it's quite difficult to get a sense of how the AI revolution is actually playing out. So the problem that we took on for CopySwap is the hunt for sustainable sources of new readers and supporters is, of course, critical. It always has been. AI is one of the elements that's changing the ecosystem. Among other things, I reiterate that media businesses are always looking to expand and retain audiences. And newsletters are one source of growth and hope in this context. I think there's a lot of focus on that. And for us, it's certainly one of our KPIs, growth in news readers and subscribers through newsletters. So the product we built in our JournalismAI grant period was what you could call an email real estate sharing platform. So for 2 news organizations, this product allows us to have your promo copy in our email, thereby giving you access to our audience, and in return, our promo copy will end up in your email. So we're exchanging content and reaching new readers, subscribers, and it's effectively a platform for news orgs to do that, and it's active. We've got numerous news organizations using it here, just a couple, and it's quite a simple platform. And initially, we were going to use AI to help organizations find appropriate content, to match content that from the platform to suit their own newsletters. We found that we had a user adoption problem to solve first. So what we actually did was we pivoted, and AI now reduces the user barrier to entry. The bottleneck was that we were creating work for potential users, because creating suitable content is work. So the AI solution is we now have an LLM that drafts a message for users from social media posts, drawing from their Blue Sky and Mastodon feeds. So now when we ask a news organization to join the platform, we're not saying you have to provide a whole raft of new content to place in our newsletters. We're saying, look, this is drafted for you, you can tweak it, and it helps with the user adoption problem that we were facing. That's a huge boost. We couldn't do it without AI, but in a certain sense, from the perspective of gaining users and growing a product which is in development, it wasn't quite a game changer. Like any startup, the challenge is we need users, other news orgs to use the system by sharing content, and user acquisition requires lots of work that we haven't fully got AI to support with. Obviously, this feature is an example of that, but there's still much more to do aside of it. So that's where we are now, and it is working for us. AI is a paradigm shift more broadly, but it's also just another tool that you need to work to integrate into your workflow, into the market, etc. That's sort of it, really. I just, there's a certain humility that we've come away with from this project, and I thought that was the kind of reflection I thought useful to share. What the platform is live, it's serving users, it's growing audiences. We as an organization now understand AI and how to bring it into our products. And indeed, we have scope to do that in this product as we go forth. But yeah, we do it with humility, and we expect that the AI revolution will continue to move apace, but that's where we're at. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Matthew. Good timing. So next on stage, I'd love to welcome Moïse from Tama Media.
So hello, everyone. So I work for a French TV based in Paris that is called TV5 Monde, but I also serve as editorial advisor for a media called Tama Media, which is a platform where we publish the best journalism from West Africa, especially the French-speaking areas, like Mali, Côte d'Ivoire, Senegal, and so on. And so the last couple of years, we've been working on fact-checking articles, when we try to chase fake news that you can find on social media. But we've been asking ourselves a question: are those articles reaching the right people? And can we also cover all the fake news we see on those social media? So to begin, I'm going to give you an example of fake news that you may find on the Francophone social media. So you have here an example. So it's a breaking news I got from one of my WhatsApp group, and that say that a volcano is going to erupt in Dakar in the 48 hours to come. And so there was a real panic. People were sending messages to each other, and even some radio stations have been talking about it. And what is very important is that they use a TV station, this is France 24, to say that France 24 has announced the information. And so when you see that lady presenting who is really from France 24, you will say that, oh, okay, this is a really true story. And of course, it's false. And so you had some media outlet who did fact-checking, and they said, of course, this is fake news. So for us, once again, how to reach people who are in rural areas, and how do we make sure that people who cannot read and cannot write get fact-checking content. So the last month, we work on an AI chatbot that is called Akili. And so Akili is a fact-check tool. It's like, let's say, like ChatGPT, but very focused on fact-checking. So the promise is that you can fact-check on Akili. You can ask a written question. You can fact-check by sending a voice message. And you can fact-check a video, and you can fact-check also a picture. And so, as I said, in Africa, most of the fact-checking in the last couple of years has been done by legacy media, and they write articles, they do everything they can, but the fake news is widespread, and even some fake news are made by foreign actors. You have Wagner Group that's very active in West Africa, in Mali, in Côte d'Ivoire, in other areas. And so you have also state media who also fabricate fake news. So how do you navigate in this and be able to cover most of the fake news that are out there? So for us, it was really important to have a tool like Akili where people can easily fact-check things. So what the key thing here is that it's funny. Like when you go out there, you can fact-check quickly, you can ask a question, and you have instant response. And the database we have is we have about 50 news trusted, 50 news websites that are news website trusted. And so there may be Western, but we also have some African local news websites that are in our data set. So you can see here, so one thing that's very important for us, it was to make fact-checking content accessible to non-speaking, non-French, and non-English speaking people. And so now the chatbot is available in Bambara, which is language spoken in West Africa, in Mali, in Côte d'Ivoire, in Burkina Faso. And so if you go on the chatbot, you can choose your language, you can choose French, English, and you can fact check also in Bamanakan. That's for us very important because the people who receive most of the fake news on WhatsApp or Instagram don't speak French, they don't speak Western languages. So for us, it was very important to have two through which they can fact check. And so, yeah, so it's, of course, it's always a website, it's a mobile app, but it's also available on WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook. And one thing that's really important, we say that actually works with real journalists. So the chatbot doesn't work like itself. When the user is not satisfied with the answer, he can ask the newsroom to get more information. And in the 24 hours or 1 hour, we can ask a journalist to fact check more and then get back to the user. So for us, it's really an alliance between AI and journalism and real fact checker. So the next step for us is to integrate more languages. So we started with Bambara. We're going to integrate Wolof, Fula, Nigala. So those are the most spoken languages in Africa. So, and what we have learned from that is that it's really important to, if you are addressing local people, it's important to have local sources. So when you are actually in Mali or in Burkina Faso, the sources that you will have when you fact check will be the local news. But when you are based in France, you will get a French website. Because if you are based in Mali or in Burkina Faso and you have just a French website, then we say, maybe this is a manipulation. And so for us, it's really important to have local news that also support what we say. So thank you. And you, of course, your feedback are welcome, and you can fact check and try to send out your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Moïse. And last speaker, we have Jose from Voces Foundation.
Thank you so much. In Cuba, knowing the price of the dollar can mean knowing if you will be, whether you will be able to buy food the next day. Since 2021, the Cuban government started a dollarization process in the economy, but didn't include a legal market for foreign currency exchange. So people started to use social media to sell and buy foreign currency. We see that, we are a media outlet serving Cuban audiences, Toque.com, and we saw that in 2021. I decided to develop an algorithm that scrapes data from social media messages and is able to calculate in real time a median value of the exchange rate. We created the representative rate of the informal market in Cuba. And that became, in few months, an economic compass for Cuban people. I'm talking about 4 million users in a population of 11 million Cuban people in this year alone. This is how it started and how it looks like now. It's a daily bulletin at 7 a.m. in our social media, but also a real-time dashboard widget in our website. We have mobile apps, and we have an entire ecosystem of information providing this information for free to the Cuban people. But what happened with that? Well, suddenly we saw people start to use our information as a reference to establish their own prices for their money, but also to calculate the value of their remittances to their family in Cuba. We have a huge population of Cubans living abroad. And also, we started to see how businesses use us as a reference to set their prices, but also as a transparency tool. As some restaurant owner in Havana told me once, when he brings the check to his client, he also brings his mobile phone to show him, to the client, our website, and to show he's not cheating them with the price of the conversion. Of course, dictatorships doesn't like this kind of transparency. And Cuba lives under a communist dictatorship since 1959. So we started to be accused of all kinds of malicious behavior. So for the Cuban government, we are financial terrorists. We are the responsible of a continuous inflation that this country is suffering. And also, we are kidnapping the functions of the central bank. And it became kind of personal. Last year, I received a message through WhatsApp from somebody that went in front of my home in South Florida, the US, where I live, and he said, look, we know where you are. Just last week, I had to face a group of demonstrators in Mexico because they were solidarians with the Cuban government, and they were accusing me of being a mercenary at the service of the CIA. This is the kind of the cost of our product has. And you could imagine, okay, with this kind of impact of somebody being the economic compass of a country, this would be a success. Well, from the business point of view, it's not. Because we live in Cuba, or we serve Cuba, and Cuba is under a US embargo. And this is the money that the platforms pay for visits to our website, for 1,000 visits. Also, you have to take into account that business owners living in the island cannot advertise in our platform because they will face retaliation. However, our information is gold, pure gold. And we knew that talking privately with these business owners and also with foreign investors trying to invest in Cuba and understand what is happening in this country where some less information is available publicly. So that's our solution, the one we pitched to Journalism AI Challenge, El Toque Markets, which is a subscription-based platform that uses AI to normalize data that we get from thousands of social media groups and websites. Also to detect trends, to see changes in supply and demand behavior. We train NLP models to reduce noise, to spot fake data, and also to validate our information. And also we train some machine learning we use machine learning to group values and to forecast behaviors of the market in the exchange rate, remittances, and food prices. And, well, this is the uses we are considering. Of course, we have faced a lot of challenges developing this kind of tool. The first one is trust and the willingness of the people to talk with us because they have to face repression. But still, we saw, once we created this kind of trusted relation with our audience, they will talk with us. We need to be all the time looking after the algorithms because the Cuban government is using disinformation to intervene in this market. The Cuban government mobilized thousands of fake social media accounts to publish fake values in these social media groups because they know what our methodology is because it's public since day one, and they have been trying to manipulate the market with fake publications. So we need to be all over the time after this to protect our information. And the third one is identify payment methods that work because Cuba is disconnected from the international financial system. So we are targeting mostly our wealthy diaspora members and investors, foreign investors, and most of the Cuban private business owners has also bank accounts outside. They have usually a second nationality, and they open bank accounts in Europe, Panama, the Republic and the Dominican Republic, stuff like that. So that's our target. And well, the Toque Markets is about to be live. It's an MVP, completely functional. We are just polishing final details, and it's going to be the first subscription product of a Cuban media independent outlet. And it's also going to be a great challenge to see if we can open a new revenue source for exile media like us. So if you want to join us in this trip, please subscribe to it.